Hi, it is 4:30, so I am going to call to order the April 27th Board of Directors meeting of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District to order and invite all of you that are able to rise and salute the flag with me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Director Uten.
Thank you. A short prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for our 22,000 or so constituents. Amen.
Okay. Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Thank you. Director Cheyenne Wright.
Here.
Director Nicole Wiltshire.
Here.
Secretary Arthur Perry.
Here.
Vice President Robert Uten.
Here.
President Michael Schaefer.
Here, thank you. Late communications.
Just one written communication received regarding General Manager's Report, item number 3.
You all have received a copy of that, I believe. Ceremonial matters and presentations, anything this evening?
No, Mr. President.
Public comments. This is the time set aside for folks in the audience to make comments on items that are within our jurisdiction but are not on tonight's agenda. Speakers will have up to 4 minutes. We have 2 requests under public comment. Mr. Humphrey, if you would.
Good afternoon, honorable board members. Jay Humphrey, Costa Mesa resident. Cynthia McDonald had surgery recently and was unable to attend the meeting and asked me if I would read her comment into the record, which is what I'm going to do. Honorable board members, I'm sorry I'm not able to attend this meeting due to illness. I sent an email to the district clerk yesterday. I hope you had the opportunity to read it. I am a Costa Mesa resident and a ratepayer at the Costa Mesa Sanitary District. I object to the board's consideration of General Manager's Report item number 3 on tonight's ballot because it arises from actions that were not properly noticed under the Brown Act. On February 23rd, the agenda item called Citizens Advisory Committee did not disclose that the board would consider disbanding the existing committee, changing the appointment process, and recruiting an entirely new committee. The Brown Act requires agendas to fairly inform the public of the substance of actions under consideration, and that did not occur here. Because the agenda failed to alert the public to the scope of the proposed action, meaningful public participation was denied. This matter should be renoticed with an accurate description and considered at a properly notified meeting. Any change to CAC appointments procedures should not be accompanied by proposed revisions to the governing handbook. If, for those reasons, I urge the district not to proceed with item 3. If the board does proceed, any action taken may be subject to being declared null and void under Government Code Section 54960.1. Finally, I note that allegations of proposed anti-whistleblowing conduct involving a board member raise serious concerns and warrant careful review. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
By the way, to reiterate, those were that's the letter of Cynthia McDonald, which you have already received another letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Sue Lester.
Good afternoon. My name is Sue Lester. I support Cynthia McDonald's formal objection to the consideration of General Manager Report item number 3. The board failed to properly notice the topics being discussed regarding the CAC, the removal or some of all of its members, me specifically, and restructuring the appointment process at their February 23rd meeting. As such, this item, I believe, should be removed from the agenda. Should the board choose to ignore this request and move forward with the appointment of a new CAC, I formally request that President Schaefer and Director Wright recuse themselves from participating in this item. As a member of the public and a long-term HR professional, I have publicly addressed serious concerns regarding new proposed benefits for the board, which I believe are excessive and fiscally irresponsible. I've questioned compensation paid to the board of directors according to District Counsel Alan Burns' staff reports dated 1/13/26 and 1/26/26, where he stated payments for the board specifically did not qualify under compensation, and there is proof that some of those payments did in fact take place. The board and GM have openly disagreed with District Council's assessment, which is fine, and that's detailed in the staff, that was detailed in the staff report. However, District Council has never publicly changed or rescinded his views in that report about those payments, which is still an ongoing great concern to me and others. The board has shown opposition and irritation to my comments that I have made as a member of the public. I have felt for months that my character and reputation was under attack and that members of the board were trying to retaliate against me by having me removed, a feeling that I shared with GM Carroll on more than one occasion. I perceive the actions taken by the board on the 23rd as retaliation against me as a volunteer of the CAC for statements I made as a member of the public during a public meeting, which is protected under the First Right Amendment, and a member of the public being able to speak about items on the agenda. I followed all the guidelines in the CAC handbook. If the board wanted to get rid of me, you could have done it very easily by just noticing it properly. The problem I have is on January 18th, Director Wright sent an email to the board, and the title of it is Remove Sue Lester from the CAC. She has proven that her objectivity where I am concerned that ship has sailed. Defamatory comments have been made about me. I have repeatedly asked for those comments to be rescinded in public and be apologized to. That hasn't been done. I'm asking you guys to do the right thing now. There may even be other members on the board that have jumped in and said, I want to see accountability for her statements as a member of the public because she's a member of the CAC. That is not somebody who can be objective. If the rest of you have made comments that you should recuse yourself because you can't be fair and objective in appointing all the members of the CAC, whether they're in your district or not, then I would hope that you would do that.
You have 1 minute, Ms. Lester.
I am angry that your guys' disdain with me for whatever I did during public comment or in comments of the CAC when I acted as the chair. I have volunteered for this organization for 9 years. I have nothing to gain. I care about this place. I have more than demonstrated that. I'm not in this for money, like I believe some of the people on the board are. And it makes me sick to say that, but that's kind of how it's coming across. I am upset that you guys took action against the entire CAC because Director's Wright's trying to have me voted off the 23rd was shut down by council because it wasn't noticed properly.
10 seconds.
Please reappoint the people who had terms remaining that still want to be appointed. They didn't deserve to be part of this.
Any other public comment? Anything on?
No, Mr. President. No, Mr. President.
That takes us to the consent calendar. But before we go to the consent calendar, I'm going to ask that the pleasure of the board, to go to the general manager's report, item 3, before we go to the consent calendar. Okay? Board, is that okay?
Yes.
I'm going to ask that we take item 3 and continue it to the May 21st board meeting for action. And in conjunction with that, I would like us to extend the filing deadline for candidates to May 16th. Okay?
You need a second?
Consider my action a motion, yes.
I'll second it.
All right, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, you have that. and can prepare. Counselor, you've got everything you need to do whatever you need to do to move this, or are we okay? Okay, then item 3 will not be heard tonight. It'll be continued to the May 21st meeting. And if we can, let's go back to the consent calendar. Consent calendar are items considered to be routine and can be acted upon by one motion.
I'll move for approval.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anybody that needs anything pulled from the consent calendar? Staff? Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the consent calendar. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay. Now we can go to General Manager's report, item 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lou Tran is going to be giving this report.
Hi, Lou. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President and member of the board. Tonight, I will provide you a brief summary of the district third quarter budget review for fiscal year 25-26, along with staff projected year-end estimate. For the solid waste fund, the amended expenditure budget is 9.3 million, with 70% spent as of March 31st. Staff projects approximately 315,000 saving, mainly in the personnel and maintenance and operation. Combined solid waste and general fund revenue total 6.3 million received out of a 9.1 million budget. For the wastewater fund, the amended operating budget is 7.1 million, excluding capital improvement projects, with 63% spent as of March 31st. Staff projects approximately 220,000 saving, mainly in personnel, maintenance and operation, and capital outlay. Revenue total of 5.7 million received out of an 8.4 million budget. Overall expenditure remains on track with some saving and revenue are progressing as expected. Staff recommend that the board receive and file fiscal year 25-26 third quarter budget review. This concludes my presentation and I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
Questions for Lou? Anybody? You need a motion to? Or is this receive and file?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second it if we need.
We don't need a motion, do we? Lou? We don't need a motion, right? It's just a receive and file, so we won't need to take any other action. Okay, item 2, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Marissa Pareto will be giving this report.
Good afternoon, President and members of the board. I'll give just a little bit of background first. So in January 2026, the district retained MSW consultants to conduct a solid waste rate study in response to Orange County Waste and Recycling's landfill tipping fees that are scheduled to increase on July 1st of 2026. On March 24th, staff and MSW consultants presented a first draft rate study and 2 rate scenarios to the board. On April 14th, staff and MSW consultants presented 2 additional rate scenarios for the board's consideration. At that meeting, the board directed staff to move forward with rate scenario 3, which is a maximum rate increase of 9% for fiscal years 26-27 and 27-28, and 8% for fiscal years 28-29 through 30-31. Today, staff is recommending that the board receive and file the solid waste rate study by MSW consultants, accept rate scenario 3, which is identified in the study and included in the staff report, direct staff to notify property owners receiving solid waste services of a public hearing to consider proposed maximum rates for solid waste services pursuant to Proposition 218, and to set a Proposition 218 public hearing for Monday, June 22nd, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. to consider adopting the new solid waste rates. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
You say June 22nd?
Yes.
Marissa, when we're going to need to present this to the public in some form to tell them what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. And as you stated, the reason for the rate study and the reason for the rates to be increased to the extent that scenario 3 will increase them. I'd like to see a comparison chart so that if staff can present the rates that would have occurred and what needs to occur when we try to inform the public. I think a chart of some sort like that would be important as a graphic. I think in the verbiage on the material that we present to the public, we can say we're doing the study because the county did what they did.
So the study, the notice does include an explanation of why and how the rates were determined through the study. The staff report includes that comparison that you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
Right now, the proposed notice includes the rate chart. So it shows what they are currently, what they're proposed to increase to each year percent-wise, what the annual rate is proposed to be, and what the monthly rate is proposed to be. Given like the formatting and everything that was included, there wasn't room for that chart that you're referring to that's in the staff report.
The staff report had the 3 years left on the present, the chart, the present fee.
Right.
But I would like to see, man, I'm not sure it's possible. We're presenting a new 5-rate rate study to the public. And so we have the documentation, we have the chart on what those fees would be. But I don't believe we have any, I don't believe in the rate study, it showed anything more than the existing rates, which is the next 3 years. I think it was 7%, 7%, 7%. I don't think that's enough to convince the public what we're going to do.
So are you
Need
asking,
to do.
are you asking for just the existing next 3 years, what they were proposed to have been already?
We have that, but I don't think we have a projection for what they would have been, for the next 2 years, 5 years total.
So it's in the staff report. It includes what they were scheduled to be through 28, 29.
Yep.
So that's the first chart. The second chart is the new scenario. There's a table below that shows you the difference between what they were scheduled to be and what they will be.
Okay.
Currently, though, that table is not on the notice because of the formatting and what needs to be included. I don't know at this point if it would be possible to add that because of our 45-day window. This meeting to the public hearing, everything's kind of been scheduled with the printer. So it's ready to go. So I can look into it. I just don't know the feasibility of adding that table at this point.
I think a visual is more important than, well, the county did this to us, and this is what we're going to do to you. And I think the staff report only showed, the final 3 years of the existing rates. Anyway,
I will look into it, though.
okay, thank you.
Questions?
Does this need to be multiple motions or can we receive and file and approve all at once?
Can approve all in one, I believe. Do you want them one at a time? Okay,
All right, I'll do the first one. Motion to receive and file the solid waste rate study by MSW Consultants.
Second.
discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
I'll just
Go
keep
on.
going, yeah. Especially because I'm very happy with scenario 3. Motion to accept rate scenario 3 identified in the study.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
All right, third motion to direct staff to notify property owners receiving solid waste services of a public hearing to consider proposed maximum rates for solid waste services pursuant to Prop 218.
Second.
Discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
And last motion, set a Prop 218 public hearing for Monday, June 22nd, 2026 at 4:30 PM to consider adopting the new solid waste rates.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously as well. So that's all four of our motions. Go.
When does the county have to receive this? What date does the county require us to get it to them?
For what, I'm sorry?
No, I mean, for the notice.
The notice has to go out 45 days prior to the public hearing.
So essentially middle of May.
I think May 7th or 8th is the hard deadline. Yeah.
It happened to be next week, I think, yeah. All right. Any other discussion on this item? All right, let's move to item 3. No, we're not doing item 3. We can go to the engineer's report. Mr. Engineer, you're up.
Good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. Let me start out with my district engineer's report. We're on schedule to finish the Eldon Force Main redundancy project. Plans and specs will be done this summer. I'm going to say probably August to September timeframe. But unfortunately, we'll put them on the shelf and we'll have to pick them up, dust them off, and probably pay our consultant to pick them up and make sure nothing's changed. Because we've got a couple or 3 years, I suspect, before we find out about funding and how we're going to proceed with the project. But the design should be done end of the summer. Mendoza Force Main rehab and redundancy, we're in construction. We've laid most of the gravity sewer, the 18-inch gravity sewer to bring the sewer onto our pump station site. And I suspect construction will be done sometime between July 1st and July 15th, which is good timing because the fair moratorium starts on the 16th or 17th, I believe. And at that point, we cannot do any work in the city streets within a mile of the fairgrounds. Unfortunately, Mendoza is close enough that it is impacted by the moratorium. But I think we'll be done by that. Frame and cover, there's an item on the agenda tonight for consideration. I'll talk more about that. Autoplex siphon, working with our consultant, RBH Engineer and Associates, we'll be doing a condition assessment and rehab project this summer out there. We're going to get quotes, and then I imagine the work will be done actually this fall. So that's moving forward, and if successful, we'll have completed rehabbing another 3-barrel siphon that's in our agency. Last thing that's under bid, well, I've got a couple more actually, but a harbor pump station we're bidding, and that's an overflow which will be installed, I'm going to say probably this winter or this fall/winter. And it'll be running we'll be running a 12 or 10-inch sewer, depending on the location, from the west side of Harbor Boulevard on Wilson over to the east side. Industrial Way, we have geotechnical work has started. As soon as that's completed, we'll get the design completed and out bidding. So that one I think will occur this winter. And then the last project that I have is our project 630. It's on all this list is I'm working from the first page of my report to you. The sewer assessment, also known as the sewer CCTV project, that will be bid open on May 18th, and that's for a 5-year term to complete all CCTV and all of our sewer pipes in our agency. There's one other project we're working with, as you recall, we're working with Midway City Sanitary District on new standards and standard drawings, and those are out for rebid right now. We rejected all the previous proposals, and that'll open up on May 12th, and then we'll assess that and make an award probably in June. That concludes my engineer's report. Do you have any questions on that I can answer? Anything you want me to go over in more detail?
Matter of fact, I do.
Okay.
Project 535, the Irvine Harbor Pump Station.
Yes.
Isn't that the same pump station that gave us the infamous Labor Day problem?
I believe there's two projects, one's Harbor and one's Irvine. If you're talking about the Irvine, I believe that's correct.
Irvine.
Yes, it is correct.
So we're waiting to get that upgraded due to Edison doing whatever Southern California Edison doing whatever they're doing, right?
Yes.
I think we need to document, pay attention, do whatever we need to do. That's probably our most critical pump station when it comes to an SSO polluting the environment. And we saw that with our Irvine situation, the Labor Day situation. It seemed like when that happened, we were able to quantify the fact that there were some electrical issues. Remember, it was a power surge or something had happened that we think contributed to that SSO.
Okay.
I just think we need to cover our you-know-whats on this and make sure that we're on top of Edison so that we don't, if something happens again, we don't get the fine. Does that make sense? Or am I just?
No, I can certainly put Edison, and then I think the County of Orange is working very well with us. They've been answering all of our questions and moving things forward. But I'm happy to put one or both or all of them on notice. I think even if we put them on notice, it's not going to help us much if we were to have a problem.
I agree. It's not, but at least we're doing our diligence
Sure.
to make sure that we tried to prevent if anything were to happen.
Okay, happy to do that.
I don't mean that to sound like
No,
you're
not.
You're right.
but that is again, I think that's our most sensitive pump station in the whole thing. Not that they're all not sensitive, but that one has the potential to cause us more issues.
Yep.
Are you talking about Irvine?
Yes.
Irvine has a 1,000,000 gallon, a large wet well associated with the pump station.
Yes, that is also a fact.
And we did not have a smart cover in that, that overflow box when we had the problem before.
Okay.
And that is true. And we also didn't have a generator, as I recall, the last time
No,
that
the
happened. We
generator-
now have a generator, yeah.
Generator came, but it couldn't be started in time to mitigate
Sure.
the overflow.
There were just so many factors. I mean, we couldn't get into the area because the county didn't know who had the key to unlock the gate to go clean. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that thing still sits in the back of my mind.
Sure, that's a very traumatic project. We went through a lot of issues,
Yeah, we did.
jumped through a bunch of hoops, so I completely understand.
Is there a smart cover in that overflow box now?
Yes,
Okay,
That-
so that'll alert us much more quickly.
well, two things will alert us. I think our SCADA system will alert us, as well as the smart cover system. We'll get 2 alarms. And the reason I think we'll get 2 alarms is because we also have a backup generator. It's one of the few stations we have that actually has a permanent generator. And with the overflow, we do have time to respond, get Vectors and pumper trucks, I guess say mobilized. We can make some things happen. But the biggest issue with that electrical, just not trying to ease your concern at all, but I want to mention that one of the biggest things we're changing out is there's 2 breakers, and right now those breakers are not, I'll say, interlocked. And so what happens is, if you get our staff are trained, but if you get the wrong person who maybe hasn't had training in a while, and they don't turn those 2 breakers in conjunction, they could cause a problem. That is the biggest thing I am concerned with. But staff is continually trained on that, and I think we're knock on wood, I think we'll get past this and we'll get this project done.
Don't ever feel bad about easing my mind, okay? Go ahead, your next item.
All right, second item. We had a project number 505. It's a manhole cover replacements. As you're aware, each year I and staff get together and we try to replace as many frames and covers that have gone bad over the term, or looking out beyond that, maybe some of the items that are there older and maybe have some wear on them, we'll replace those. But we just completed construction of our latest project. We completed about replacing 50 frames and covers, and it's time. The contractor would like to get his final payment, and so I'm asking that this board of directors consider the following. One, accept the improvements as complete, and so we can file a notice of completion that's attached for your signature. Exonerate labor and material bonds 35 days after the notice of completion is recorded with the county recorder's office. Thirdly, I'd like you to exonerate the faithful performance bond 1 year after notice of completion is recorded. And number 4, approve the closeout agreement, also for your signature, attached to this agenda items. That being said, are there any questions or anything I can cover in more detail on this particular item?
Any questions for Mark? Anybody?
If you can give me a motion on those 1, 2, 3, or 4 items, or however you want to handle this, that would be great. Thank you.
Do you have any action from any board member?
Can I move all of them, Mark?
I believe so.
I'll move all 3 or 4 items.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? You're good to go.
Great, thank you.
Unanimous.
This one's a little more difficult. I made a couple of errors that I need to correct going in. So the first thing I'd like to go over is, this is basically a staff report asking you to consider approving an increase to the Robin B. Hamers and Associates inspection billing rates. And the reason why I need to ask for your approval is that we have a contract with them. However, that contract does state we have to pay prevailing wage, and as you guys know, every year the state of California increases their prevailing wage. And in fact, this time they've kind of indicated there's 3 increases occurring all at the same time. But what I'd like to ask is that the the rate from March 1st of 26 to June 30 of 26, I put down $129.90. It really should be $129.87. So there's a 3 cents bust there. I don't know how I missed it, but I did. The last item, starting July 1st, 2027, I'd like that number to read $139.07. I had put $139.02, so there was a 5 cent bust per hour there. Please make those 2 corrections. But what RBH is asking for is to basically pass through those increases. The increases are summarized under the financial review portion, and basically there's 3 increases. March 1st through June 30th of 26, and it'd be $129.87. Starting our fiscal year, July 1st through June 30 of 27, that fiscal year, based on California's increase in prevailing wage, it'd be $134.71. And then the fiscal year 27-28, starting July 1st, the state of California is raising it another 3.2%, and that would be $139.07. So I'm asking for your consideration to increase the Robin B. Hamers billing rate just on the inspection rates only, because that's the only prevailing wage position they have. I will say that RBH, Mike Benesh, his principal billing rate is like $150 an hour. Most, in fact, every other firm that I'm dealing with is anywhere from $225 to $325 an hour for a principal. So RBH treats us very well with their unit rates, but you know, like, he's giving us such low rates, he can't absorb the increases, particularly those pushed on him from the state of California, as we require in our agreement with them. So I would like your consideration on approving the rates for those time periods. That concludes my report. Can I answer any questions?
Questions?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you very much for your consideration tonight.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Mr. Davis, anything for us this evening, sir?
Oh, nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Counselor?
Well, hi, Mr. President, and happy Law Day. May 1st is Law Day. I know you all have it on your calendar.
Is,
Engineers are laughing heartily.
have you notified the Law Brothers and Annie Fong and all the rest of them?
No, I have not.
They can have more commercials on TV.
Maybe Jason or Monty needs a memo. Yeah. It was established by President Eisenhower in the 1950s to promote understanding of the rule of law, the Constitution, and how it all works. Remember the Magna Carta, the Great Charter?
I wasn't there when they
Oh, I
signed it.
didn't mean personally, but it was established at the Plains of Runnymede in 1215 and June 15th, so it's coming right up. They were like, King John was being confronted by a bunch of rebellious nobles. And he was forced to sign the Magna Carta. There were about 39 provisions in the Magna Carta, and about 3 or 4 of them are relevant today. So it's very topical. The rights to a trial and due process and protection from false imprisonment are obviously big deals. But maybe most topical is the thought that the king was not above the law, and even the king had to obey the law. And that was established in Magna Carta. And all of these rights were carried over into the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Could they maybe get a copy to Washington DC and let us know folks there?
I believe Harvard has one, so I think they could make some arrangement for that. Yeah. They have one?
Building. What building was it?
Yeah. Thank you for that. So as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our nation and the 800-year anniversary of that document, let's remember where we all came from and where we are today. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. That was outstanding. I was back in 8th grade. All right, local meetings. Bob, Sanders?
Yeah, we had a meeting last Wednesday, and the big items are very well vetted through their 2 major committees, the Operations Committee and the Administration Committee. Most of them under the Operations Committee were rehab projects to the existing facilities, including infrastructure and electrical areas. And the Admin Committee listens to public affairs and legislative updates. And they're going through the budget process just like we are. The Orange County Sand District budget, though, included a $68 million CIP increase for next year. And that's because a lot of their very large projects got speeded up. So there's no impact in the long term, but the short term, it's $68 million more in that year's budget. I did notice that if you're interested, you can listen. They post audios of their meetings very quickly. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Sarfa, anything? Mark?
I did not attend because I had a commitment at Estancia High School that I had to be at, so I could not attend that meeting. But that's one of the first I've ever missed, but.
And I'm the alternate, and I had a dental emergency that day, so I didn't go.
Well, we'll excuse both you gentlemen from your duties for that. ISDOC, nothing from the meeting earlier in the month of any relative importance, but I will remind all of you that this Thursday, the 30th, the ISDOC quarterly luncheon is being held at Metropolitan Water District, and if you would like to go, the guest speaker this Thursday is the Registrar of Voters. So it's a timely subject to listen to. You need to let Nolani know like tonight so that she can get you registered for that. I will be attending the luncheon and would encourage any of the rest of you that want to go. CSDA, the Special Districts Association. I'm sure you all get the emails, but today was the official day that you can start registering for the annual conference, which will be held in the middle of summer in Palm Desert, California. Good thing they have a very nice location. You don't even have to go outside, and you probably won't want to go outside being in Palm Desert in September. So let Nolani know your plans for that.
Do we know the date of that?
September 24th or 14th or somewhere around.
Yeah, let us know. Good. Okay, thanks.
I think Director Uten and I are attending the CSDA Leadership Foundation in 2 or 3 weeks.
May 11th, May
Yeah.
11th was.
It's in San Diego, fortunately. Other meetings, SDRMA, we have a board meeting next week. We did have a couple of special board meetings over the last 2 weeks. Just so that if you remember, the prior CEO was dismissed and we appointed Debbie Yakota as a CEO. The prior CEO did take legal action for his dismissal, and we settled that case last week. So we're out of the woods with that one. And again, I have a board meeting with SDRMA next week, 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, something like that. The other meeting I would like to report on is, you all know that I'm a member of the Orange County Council of Governments Board of Directors. And this last meeting, which was last Thursday, we elected a new chairman. Mayor Kleinman from Newport Beach is now the chair. And the vice chair is Tanya Doby, the mayor of Los Alamitos. But the big news out of OCOG is, I'd like you all to save the date. May 27th is our annual general assembly. It's free. It's a free day to all elected officials. This year it will be held at, what's the name of that? JSX Airlines. They have a meeting room. It's going to be held there. It's just right over here, right? It's on this side of the airport. I'll get you more details, but I'd encourage all of you. It's a really topical meeting where they talk about transportation issues and some other things that involve all the cities in the county. It's a good meeting to go to. I don't always believe that there are good meetings to go to, but I think this is good. Plus, you get a free lunch and free breakfast out of the whole deal. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Scott, do they have a room big enough?
I'm not sure. That's what I was surprised when President Chambers mentioned. Apparently they do.
I've never been there, so
Yeah,
We've been there, but it's just been a small area,
well,
unless they have somewhere in the back.
I heard
I don't
today
know.
they've got a large meeting area. The last couple of years, they've had the General Assembly at the Nixon Library.
Yeah.
And they have a good sized ballroom, but I don't know, it's not that big at Nixon Library. May 27th.
Yeah, we're gonna get more information on that.
I'll get the information and pass it on. I've got it. Okay, any other meetings? Anybody?
I'll put all mine in writing.
All right. I think that's all. No, we have no old business or any new business. Oral communications, any director comments? Go.
We have information from Cynthia McDonald and Sue Lester's comments. What I'd like to do is see a plan at the study session for how or if we need to address any of those comments. So that we can complete the CHC process at the May meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'm going to adjourn the meeting to our study session. Please remember that our study session has been postponed to May 21st with the board meeting on the 27th, 26th. Okay, with that, we are adjourned.